Well, good morning to everyone. Happy Figured Out Friday to y'all. Happy Figured Out Friday. Put TGIF in the chat. Put TGIF in the chat for me as we get ourselves ready to rock and roll. Good morning to you, Jackie. What's up, D? Stephanie, Alicia, good morning to you. John Root in Virginia. John Root up in there, Virginia. Good morning to you. What's up, Mr. John? What else do we have here? We got, there's the other John. John's over there. Wendy, good morning to you. Good morning to all those. And for those of you who watch our recording, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time period you watch the recording. Thank you for being on the show. Guys, all of our shows are recorded and they are on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to the Brock Zevian YouTube channel. All my stuff's there. All my coaching programs, everything I have, my little shorts. And big day, Jack. We had a big day yesterday or 2 days ago. So as you guys all know, I'm a DAD. And my son and I, we fight for YouTube. And I was telling Wendy yesterday, I said, listen, we had to, big announcement. Bryce has his own YouTube channel. Bryce now has been promoted, my 6-year-old, to his own YouTube channel because he just loves videos. He loves videos. And so we created his own YouTube channel because he was basically hurting my algorithms because my audience became a lot of unique type of people for the things that he was posting. And so it was funny though. If you want to laugh, go to my YouTube channel. You'll see some of his videos on there. We kept some of them up just because I think they're cute and funny, but we've had to make some changes. So you would think he was like a kid in a candy store, Latrice. I was like, Bryce, I got some news for you. I said, we created your own YouTube channel. Dad, stop it. Stop it, Dad. This is not funny. Did you really? And I go, yeah, bud, we did. We have your own YouTube channel. He is so excited about having his YouTube channel on. I think he's going to be a YouTuber. I really do. Like he just really loves that type of stuff. And Wendy goes to me, she goes, I wonder where he gets that from. I was like, what do you mean? I don't like to take the microphone, now do I? So good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Happy Figured Out Friday to you all. Put TGIF in the chat. Put TGIF in the chat for those that watch the recording. Put it in the chat. And like I said, come subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come join me so you can hear all the great things that we have to offer for you today. And boy, oh boy, do we have an amazing person that we have today. So good morning to y'all. My name is Coach Brock Zevan, life coach, business coach, real estate coach, and a DAD. And today is Figured Out Friday that we have going on here today. Good morning to you, D, and for all those that are on here. So a couple of weeks ago, I was on a podcast, or no, I was on a clubhouse. And Robin leads a clubhouse show. It's like the early risers disc. I don't know what it is, but it was a clubhouse show. And Jack, who's our guest today, was on there. I didn't know Jack at the time, and just like always, when I listen in to people, I hunt you down, I search. And so while Jack was speaking, I spoke, and then Jack came on and shared some things, and I was listening to this guy, and I was like, I need to meet him. I need to learn who this guy's all like. I really like how he spoke, and he was sharing similar things that I've been through. And so while I'm listening to Jack, Jack doesn't know this. While I was listening to him, I'm texting Robin. I'm like, Robin, who's this guy? Who is he? He says he's Keller Williams down in Tampa Bay. Like, I need to know him. Could you give me his digit? And then, of course, Robin, she gets sidetracked. It doesn't tell me. I'm like, Robin, who's Jack? I need to know Jack. And so then I started messaging Jack, and then I started sending him some direct messages through Zoom. And you know how that is. All you try to send a direct message. How many of you try to send a direct message through Zoom and they don't even pay attention to it? They're not even looking at it. Then I was like, he didn't get to me. I'm like, I got to get his cell number. So I'm texting Robin, I need to get his cell number. And I reach out to him, and then him and I had a really good conversation. I remember I was driving down to Charlotte. I had about a half hour, and I got to listen to this man's story. And I was just like, would you mind being on our Figured Out Friday show? Would you mind sharing? And I was very blessed and honored. He said, I would love to. And that's when you know you got good people around you all, is when they're like, I'd love to. And I'd be honored to share my story, because we all have a story, right? Frank McKinney said that we all have a story. And there's going to be somebody that's on here today that he is going to help. And there's somebody on here that's going to lean in and be like, you know what? I need to listen to this guy. I too need to want to reach out to him. We're going to have his contact information at the end here. But I'm really, really blessed to have this man. We are cut from the same cloth. I shared with you guys a little bit about the addiction behaviors that I have, and Jac's been through a story of many different things. So, guys, if you can do me a favor, put some fives in the chat, put some hearts all around in the emojis, and let's welcome to the stage Mr. Jac Smith from Tampa Bay, St. Pete. Good morning to you, Jac. Look at that bow tie, man. That guy's all on the nines over there. He's trying to get to his mute. See, remember, he wants to say his curse words
Oh,
first.
I don't, that's in a button I don't know much about. That's, always do that.
Good morning to you, brother. How are you?
I'm really good and very honored to be here with you and your friends, and I guess my friends now. And
Yeah,
really grateful to be able to say whatever you want me to say. I asked, that was a question I asked you. Can I say whatever I want to say? You said yes. I said, okay.
I said the more transparent you are, you're reaching somebody, you're touching somebody. Is as I tell many times, so you guys don't know, for those that behind the room in the green screen, when I make my phone calls at 8 to 8:05, I just say, hey, I want you to be transparent. I want you to be honest. You could be spiritual. You could say whatever's in your heart, inside your mind, whatever you feel, because you're going to touch somebody today, because somebody might be going through the same thing that you've been through or going through, whatever that might look like. So, Jac,
Sir.
I got to listen to your story, but before we get into some of your figured out moments, tell people a little bit about you, where you are today, and what that looks like.
Oh Lord, that's a lot to encapsulate. How is it? I grew up in the military. I'll start easiest. Grew up in the military. Went to school and got married right when I was in first year of college, and had a son, and went to work for the phone company, AT&T, for 20 years. Hated it. HATED. Hated it. Had to stay 20 years to get vested. Went into mortgage banking because a buddy of mine that I got sober with went into mortgage banking, and he barely, we had helped him buy his first house, and he barely had any money to buy his first house, and here he is having 5-figure months. And then I retired from banking and bought a bed and breakfast in a restaurant at the Jersey Shore, and Sandy came in and wiped it out. Our house, the bed and breakfast, the restaurant, the rentals, it was a nightmare. But the nightmare out of all that was that I knew there would be light at the end of the tunnel, and that I would be blessed to find a new life here in St. Petersburg. Didn't know it was going to be St. Petersburg. One of my neighbors, where we had a winter home in Fort Lauderdale, said, "Why don't you try St. Petersburg?" And I said, "I don't want to live there. It's all old white people." And he said, did you ever look in the mirror?" So I came over here and quite frankly, just woke up in the morning and I realized I was happy. I've had a great life. A great life, a wonderful life. I've been more than blessed. I got sober when I was 28. I come from a long family of addiction that was forever and ever. Crazy story about my grandmother, who was my favorite human in the world. She died with my grandfather and her boyfriend on either side of her. So that sort of tells you what kind of dysfunction I came from. It's true. It's true. Anyhow.
Yeah.
So I came to St. Pete, and then Philip, who's my husband, said at 44 years, said to me, "Well, what are you going to do now?" I said, "I don't know. I'll figure it out." He said, "Why don't you sell real estate?" I said, "No, I was a banker. I had to deal with those people. I don't want to deal with them. They're crazy." So here I am. And so I joined Keller Williams, and Gary Keller says you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years, much like we learn in AA, an 8 day at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, busier than the day is long. I said to you, that we just need good help. We can't keep up with the referrals. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful.
It's awesome, man.
Built a great team, and it's not about me, it's about the team. Team works really, really hard. I have great people. That I have two partners, which is rare in the real estate industry, because I knew that I wanted a life, again, beyond our wildest dreams. That's what we learn when we get sober. You can have a life beyond your wildest dreams. So God's been more than good to. I've had more than my fair share. Let me just say that for 100,000 people, more than my fair
Yeah.
share.
That is, And as you could see, all as I was listening to Jack's story, I was just like blown away because there's so many times in our lives. Put a 7 in the chat where something hits you so hard that you're not too sure how you're going to get out of. Has anybody else felt that? Put a 7 in the chat. If something's blindsided you so hard that you're not too sure if you're going to make it out, you're really not too sure at all. And be vulnerable with yourself right now. Like, if for those of you who are really like, no, that's not me, then to each their own. But there are moments in our lives where we're not too sure. And so Jack, I ask you to kind of walk us through maybe a moment or two that really you weren't too sure how the F you were going to get out of it. You really weren't too sure if this, like, like, why did God take me down this path? Like, what took place? And so I'll let you decide what that is in your life, because I have a couple of thoughts in my head, but I want to hear from you of like where it is that you are like, I had to really figure it out.
That's a really loaded question. I guess the first two things that come to mind is when after we had lost everything in Sandy, and we were fortunate that we have a condo in New York, and we were walking through the arch in Washington Square, New York, and I literally did this. I was on my way to a morning meeting. I said, "Okay, God, you screwed with me for 2 years. It's time to move on to somebody else. I've had enough. I've had enough. I've had enough." And the other one was last September, they found a rare tumor between my scalp and my skull. And I didn't read anything about it other than the dermatologist sent me a note after I left the office to go right to the cancer center here in in Tampa. I said, "Oh, hell no, I'm going to New York because I just know I've got good New York doctors." And quite frankly, I didn't know if I was going to survive the whole thing. So God decided I wasn't done yet. That's the way I look at it. So it was a very rare tumor. And, had tubes coming out of my head and I was still working, laying in the hospital bed. They'd come and say, "Jack, how could you be working right now?" I said, "Listen, I don't know." But they had me so drugged up. I didn't know I was working. I was just doing what I do. Right.
Hmm. So I want to go back to, because one of the things that I was thinking of
Uh,
is Sandy.
uh,
And here you are, you left the AT&T, right? You left that job. You hated it, HATED, hated it, right?
yeah.
And how many of us on here, like I was a school teacher. I mean, I'm not going to be mean to the school industry, but I didn't like my job. I was very underpaid. I just wasn't appreciated. I mean, it just wasn't for me. How many of you can relate? How many of you have been in that position? So here you are, Jack, you go and you're like, I'm ready to start a new adventure, a new journey. You found your passion. And you're like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this bed and breakfast, and things are going, because you did it for what, 4 years, you said?
Yeah. 4 years. Yeah. We
Four
had the
years you're doing it
restaurant for 4 years. Yes.
and you're running it.
Well,
I mean, let's,
mind you, was a super huge investment for us. I mean, here's
right.
him at 56,
How much money you lose?
a little over 2 million.
2 million.
Uh,
2 million all. So when you have a perspective like, oh my gosh, I can't pay this 20 grand. Here I am, I'm crying over 153,000, let
uh,
alone my most debt I've been in was 550,000,
uh,
and he's 2 million. And so $2 million, and God, I mean, let's just call it how it is. A natural disaster. On, like, how many of you hear hurricanes coming up to freaking New York? All like Florida, yeah, totally. Like Florida, it's like, oh, it's just a hurricane, Cat 3, no big deal. We'll get through it. Like up in New York, all that's not normal. And I'm from New York. So as this hurricane comes and you walk to your place, Jack, you go to your environment, you go to that, and you finally realize, shit, everything is ruined. You lost everything. Like, how is that moment for somebody today who might be like, I don't know how, like, I completely feel lost. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Share with us that moment when you kind of went through that.
Well, I think that the difference is that the whole town was wrecked. So I was not, and we had insurance, not enough. I want to be very clear, we didn't have enough insurance. So if you don't know what your insurance is on your home and all your belongings, check with your insurance person and find that out because it was a huge awareness to us that we had no idea we didn't have enough insurance. We just. Sorry, it's my team call in the morning. I have to get rid of them.
Oh,
Um,
I lost you, Jack. There
so
you are.
all I can tell you is that I was one of hundreds in our town that lost everything. But the good part for me was, and this is the defining moment about AA, is that I had a good friend, and she called, and she was in town down below us, where we had another house that was totaled as well. And she called, she said, "What do you need?" I said, "We left the house with a bag of clothes for Philip, a bag of clothes for me, stuff from the safe, and stuff for the dogs." That was our whole world. So if you just think about your life and you wake up and everything below your kitchen counter is gone, everything, everything. And you walk into this gook everywhere. The difference was that she said, "Okay, fine. What do you need?" I said, "We need warm clothes." So
Mm.
will you come over for dinner tonight? I said, "Sure, we'll come over for dinner tonight." We go over to dinner tonight. She opens her trunk and it is loaded. Mind you, my sponsor in AA was down here helping me at the beach because I was just crippled. And she had her entire trunk. They went to TJ Maxx and loaded up clothes, shoes, warm clothes, jackets. I'd never seen so many clothes in my life. So that's the gift of having people that you love and adore. And it's vice versa as well. So I've just been very blessed with having people that are really, really good to me and kind to me. And I don't know why I've been given such a wonderful life. Sometimes I say to myself, "Okay, God, it's enough already." But I really have had more than my fair share of good.
I wrote down these two words,
Uh,
warm clothes. How
yeah.
many of us on here, when you said, what do I need? I need warm clothes. The necessities, the bare bone necessities. Our lives are so full of so many distractions and so many materialistic things, all that we forget the bare bones, the necessities. When people ask me in the real estate world, "Brock, what should I do? How do I get more sales? How do I do what you're doing?" It's not how am I doing, it's not what am I doing, it's what I did. It is going to the foundations, it's going to the bare bones, it's going to the basics. And when you said that, Jack, and said warm clothes, how many of us, like, I don't know about you, but it's like that's it, just warm clothes. Like I'm thinking like all these elaborate things, but really the basics of just warm clothes. But then I thought of this, Jack, the law of attraction, because you said you're blessed beyond belief,
Uh,
but you give or you get what you give.
mm,
And many times you people don't realize where God is blessing you for things that you are doing of just blessing other people. And I'm sure if we went through your life and we looked at each chapter and we say, here's Jack giving again. Here's Jack helping out. Here's Jack doing this. And so as you kind of go through this process, Jack, and your family, like how does it come into play for somebody who's going through it? I mean, that's an extreme transition. New York, bed and breakfast to entrepreneurship, real estate, Tampa Bay. Like, how did that process go in that transition?
it's all God's work. It's not mine.
Mm.
I believe that my life is in a book, and I just keep turning the pages. And most of the pages have been really good. Every once in a while, he's got to throw you a boner, right? Let's just, this is not, we're not, you better wake up here, young man. So I just firmly believe that. I just firmly believe that. I just keep turning the pages, keep turning the pages. At 72, my parents lived till their 90s. I mean, I always used to say, I don't know if I want to live as long as my mom and dad did, but good Lord, when it's 18 years away, you say, ooh, maybe I need to think about that a little bit longer.
That's such a unique perspective. That is pretty cool. I mean, I just love how you just like turn the page and just having that because I do the same thing. I don't know about you all, but I have the same thing. God, what do you got for me today? All right, I need to listen. I need to listen up. Shaping up, Brock. Shaping up. We got some things for you to listen to listen to. And that's how I am too. It's just like, all right, this is a big problem. What am I supposed to learn from it? What am I supposed to grow from this? How am I supposed to engage to be able to take this? And, you know, being financially broke is something that you can help somebody else out because there's a lot of financial challenges in our world. So I'm going to pivot here based off of looking at the time. So Jack, you're blessed. You got down to Tampa. You're moving and grooving. You know, you've been through your addiction phase. You've been through that, and you still go to meetings, correct? You said
Of course.
so. He still goes to meetings, still helping people. And what I loved about how he goes, of course. Did you know where's Christian? Christian and I were talking about today or the other day. I said, do you realize that only 8% or 10% of people actually work on themselves? And you're like, of course I do, because AA is working on yourself. AA is understanding, like, I need to work on myself. And Jack, I mean, I don't know if you realize, but like only 8% or 10% of people work on themselves. They just think they got it all figured out.
Well, I'm learning based. I guess I'm fortunate that I'm learning based, and being learning based, I have an incredible team behind me, and they are my world.
Mm-hmm. They become your family.
They're more than family. They're better than
Yeah.
my birth family. Let me just say that. No, I mean I love them, but you know what I mean. I would do
It,
anything for any of them.
I'm truly blessed when I get to look at everybody on here. Some of you are new today, and I'll get to know you, and I hope you get to know me. Some of you I've known for years on this show, and they've become my family. We've had to meet with some really good text messages, phone conversations, Facebook Lives, whatever you want to call it. And it is truly your environment. If you don't believe that your environment is very, very important to you, you really need to reflect a little bit more because your environment and your thoughts, Zig Ziglar. So Jack,
So,
today, wait, we got something? What do you got?
no, I'm just listening to you.
Oh, so it's 8:39 in the East Coast. What is it? What is it that today you're 72? You know, you just thought about your season of life or where your parents lived and what you're going through. It's a different mindset.
Hmm.
What is it today that you're trying to figure out? What are you trying to figure out today in your life?
How to spend more time with my family, quite
Mm,
frankly. I'm a workaholic. I've always been a workaholic, and you know, it's just part of who I am, and I'm trying to figure it out. So I promised myself at the beginning of the year I would take 2 weeks each quarter off and do something fun. So actually, we leave for Charleston tomorrow. It's part of it is a work trip, but part of it's going to be fun. And I really, really, the most important thing to me is to surround myself with people that I love and love me. That's all.
mhm.
My world is small. It's big business wise, but my real world is very small, real small. And the real
I call my world my circle. Do you have a like your circle of life? It's small, right?
small. It is small. If you've crossed the threshold of my home, you're important.
Hmm. Say that again. I like that.
If you cross the threshold, Philip and I are both chefs. So if you cross the threshold of my home, you're really important to me and us.
I like that.
It's like that invisible Berlin Wall at the front door, you know, that
Yeah.
people are not invited into because it's my sanctuary. It's my safe place. And if you're sitting and breaking bread with me at my table, you're important. Whether it's a
Hmm.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it's a Chateaubriand, doesn't really matter. You're important.
You know, and I think that's why you have so many people who love you back is
Uh,
because you love them and they can feel it. I mean, how many of us have felt like artificial love? Like, that's really not an apology. You just said it. That's not really I love you. You just said it. But when you can actually feel it, why I like Zoom with over StreamYard when I did StreamYard, where's John Hart? John Hart hated StreamYard. He told me every day I did it for 3 days all. He's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm like, John, I don't like it either because I couldn't see people. That's why I like people when they're on video so I could see you, feel you, get to understand where you are. If you're driving, if you're in an office, if you're in a house, if you're with your kids, if you're with your dog, I don't care. It's just being able to feel you because like Jack, relationships matter.
Oh yeah.
When people I'm around, they're like, damn, Brock, you really care. You bet your ass I do. I want you to do what you want to do. I want you to do what you didn't think you could do. I have amazing text messages. Where's Jackie? Jackie was on here. She goes, Brock, I feel so much more confidence. And I guarantee you, Jack, you probably exude that with people around you.
I don't know about that. I just think that God has given us one life, and it's our job to take care of it and honor it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself with the people that took me a long time to understand that. Surround yourself with people that you love and adore. And they do the same for you. And even if they don't, you can love and adore them. They don't have to necessarily feel that way about you, but they're put in your life for a reason. Everybody's put in your life for a reason.
Amen to that. So as we conclude, Jack,
Uh-huh.
the infamous question that I ask everybody here at the very end, they all know the question. Everybody on here probably could ask the question themselves, ask you. What is the one thing? I got this from Gary Keller because the one thing that book all was the one that's changed my life. When I read that book, that changed my life. And that's why this is such an important question to me because drinking was my one thing. That if I just changed that, it affected the rest of my life.
Uh-huh.
And so I asked you, Jack, what's the one thing you'd like to leave us with today, this audience here today?
Hmm. Spend time with people you love. Honor them. Spend time with people you love. Keep it simple. Love is the answer for everything, and just spend time with people you love. And if you're not with people you love, find the people you want to love. I'm just grateful I have a life that I have and surround myself with people that I really, and I say this, keep saying this over and over, surround myself with people that I love and adore.
Mm. You know what I love about that? Keep it simple. You, in life, if I asked that exact same question to a 20-year-old compared to Jack at 72, one of the things, there's a book about it, that if you ask the definition what love is to a 20-year-old compared to a seasoned veteran, you're going to get two different answers, completely different answers. Meaning, if I asked a 20 or 25-year-old, say, hey, what's the one thing you'd like to leave us with today? They will send us some elaborate, long-winded chat GPT answer. But what did Jack say? Keep it simple. Love the people around you. It's that simple. We freaking complicate it. Jack, I appreciate you being on here. Guys, put some love in the chat. Put some fives in the chat if you got for Jack here today. Jack, we have your information on here. Maybe there's somebody on here that wants to reach out to Jack. Maybe you're in Florida. Maybe you're going through a challenge in your life. See, addicts all, I like this thing you said that you're a workaholic. Addiction just changes different things. Like we have to be careful because we'll just keep on working. I'm the same way. I could work 12, 15 hours a day and I have to like, hey, I got to remove myself from this because I get so immersed into it. And so, Jack, I just appreciate your vulnerability today. I appreciate you sharing today. Thank you so much for being on here. And I wish you and your family just an amazing, amazing time in Charleston, brother.
Thank you. And thank you for the honor of being here. I mean, when you were on the call on Clubhouse, when you started talking, I did the same thing. Said, who is this Brock dude? Where did he come from? It's just amazing how God aligns us with people. Just let the
Yeah.
universe do its work. And I say that all the time. Let the universe do its work. If it's to be, it's to be. If it's not to be, it's not to be. And sometimes you get dreck, and sometimes you get lots of sunshine, and you go
Mm.
on with your life. But thank you again for the honor, and thank you everybody for being here and being kind and listening to me, my story.
Amen. Amen. Guys, Appreciate you being on here today on this Figure It Out Friday. If you have a guest, if you have somebody that you think has a story to share to be part of this family, reach out to us. Reach out to Rika, Jay, or myself. You can put it in the chat. You know, all my stuff's on Facebook. The private page, Proxy Events Mindset Motivational page. Join us as we have tips, tricks, and all the fun stuff in there, as well as join my YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that so you can watch all the recordings, see all my coaching and everything, as well as all the leaders that are on here. Jack, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Guys, I'll be back Monday, 8:15 Eastern Time. I'll be your host with Monday with Maxwell. God bless you all. We'll see you guys on the other side of the weekend. See ya.
Be safe.